welcome back to my channel. Today is Thursday, May 7th, and I have a market on Saturday, May 9th, so in 2 days, and that is what today's video is going to be about. So originally I was going to do a bunch of market prep and then do a separate video for the market vlog, but it's so late in the week that it's just going to be one video. So it's mainly going to be the market vlog, but I am going to take y'all along with me to go shop for some things for the market, and then I'm going to do a mock setup tomorrow and just finish some things on some of my lovies that need finishing. So the first thing though, I did just get a package from Premier, and it is a bunch of caramel, because if y'all didn't see it, caramel finally came back in stock and I was able to order some. So I think it's already sold out, so it's pretty crazy. And I'm very glad that I was able to get some because I have never had caramel before. So I've really been wanting it, and I was really glad when I saw that it was in stock. So I ordered 9 skeins of it. So that should last me for quite a while. And all of these skeins are very good too. None of them are janky. They're all really soft, and they all seem to be the same dye lot, so that's good. This is just a handful of them. There's still more in the box, but I'm gonna have to clear off another shelf and put this on there, but that's for a later day. I've got to get ready for my market. But I did want to show y'all the caramel that I got. And then I also got some winter white, which I've never had this color either. And if you saw my last week's video, you heard me talk about how all of the white yarn at Michael's recently has been on the yellow side. So I decided to get some winter white just to see how this compares. And I'm very glad that I did, because this is a nice cream color and it is not yellow like the Bernat blanket has been. So I'm glad that I got this, and this will get some good use. And I got 3 of those. So that's pretty good yarn haul. All I got was caramel and winter white, but it was much needed. And then I did get some stitch markers because I really like Premier stitch markers. They work really well for me, and I actually had ran out because I've ordered them. This is like the 3rd pack I think that I've ordered, but over time with some whips and then all just losing them, I have ran out. And so I had to get some Susan Bates stitch markers, and I actually hate these. So I've had like 5 of them break when I was trying to mark the stitch, and they're just not that good in my opinion. So I'm very glad that I was able to get some more Premier stitch markers. And this is the first time that it has come with a darning needle in there. So that will be a nice little extra needle. And that's all that I got from Premier. I did get really excited when I saw the box, so I did open it off camera, but I knew I still wanted to show y'all. So there is the caramel and the winter white. A little backstory for the market that I'm going to be selling at Saturday is that I actually did sell at this market last year around July 4th, and it's actually a farmer's market, so it's year-round. And you do have to sign up and become a vendor there. And the week that I went, it actually was a miscommunication, but they still let me sell there, which I was very grateful for because I did do pretty good. And so they just sent out to do the year-round applications again. And so I applied and they accepted. So I'm going to be selling at the farmer's market all year round. And I'm very excited because I have been looking for a place to sell my lovies and plushies, because I haven't had much luck online, and I'll be honest with you, I really haven't had much luck. So I've been looking for somewhere to sell in person, and whenever they accepted it, I was so happy and very grateful. So they actually accepted me last week, and then I couldn't do it last Saturday, but I'm able to do it this Saturday. And I'm going to try and sell every other Saturday, or if I can't do it every other, I'm going to at least try and sell 2 Saturdays a month. So maybe it will be back to back, maybe it will be every other. It just depends on my schedule and my inventory. But now I do have some things that need to be finished, which most of the stuff is finished. It just needs safety eyes, or not safety eyes, it just needs embroidered eyes. So I do have this Winnie the Pooh bear that I actually was working on last week, and I finished it a couple days ago. So all this needs is the eye embroidery. And I'm going to bring that. And I was going to do a market inventory video, and I actually did film it, but it was like 30 minutes long, and it wasn't really interesting. So if I didn't want to watch it, I knew y'all didn't want to watch it. So I just scrapped that, and I'll just show you a couple things. So like I said, I've got the Winnie the Pooh bear, and I have a lot of these little rattles, which they're not technically marketed as a rattle. The pattern is just a pipsqueak, but I add the rattles inside of the head to make it a little baby rattle. And there's all different flowers. So there's daisies. This one is a marigold. I have a sunflower one right here. And then I think there's another one somewhere, but I don't know where it is. But there's also like different animals. So I also have a bee, which this one needs eyes on it. And I did already batch make 2 more bees. This one needs the antennas still, but this one has that and needs the wings. I did do a different color for these 2 because I was running out of the gold color. So this one is the mystical and the black, and this one is like the gold with the black mystical. So I want to make a couple more of these because I want to have a basket of the rattles. I think that would be very cute for display. And I also have a little ladybug, and I want to make a couple more of these. And then I have a lot of these little rubber ducks from Oak and Marlow. So I showed this one in my last week's video at the very end. But I also have a blue one, a light pink one. I have this yellow one, which is the first one that I did. And if you saw my last week's video, this is the one that I did an 8mm hook. And then all the other ones are 7mm. So the pink one is a little bit smaller, but I do like how tight the stitches are. So there are just a little bit of holes, in my opinion, and it just feels nicer with the 7mm. So I am going to frog this and redo it with the 7 because this was all of the yellow that I had. So I don't want it to go to waste. So I am going to redo this. And then this morning I made a white one. So these are all of the rubber ducks that I have right now. And I might make a couple more, maybe not, because I think 5 is a good number, but we'll see. Also in my last week's video, I showed y'all that I was going to make a baby Bonnie Bunny with the pepper from Mama Made Minis yarn. And I did make all of the pieces for it. I just have to sew them together. So here's the ears, the head, and the body. And I just have to finish it. So maybe I will finish this. I'm not sure because I do have like 4 other bunnies, but we'll see about this as well. And that's all of the stuff that I've got right now. I did start this cow, which I showed in my last week's video, but I don't think I'm going to finish it just because it's a bigger make and I want to spend my time making smaller things so that I can have some bulk stuff. Because I don't want to have just like one little rattle. I want to have a couple so people can choose. And then I did start making a Mabel chicken. So I don't know what it is about the Mabel chickens. I don't really like making them, but I don't know why. Like, they're really easy. They work up super quick. But after making the ducks, the base is the same as the Mabel chickens. So I was like, you know what? I'm going to make some because I did like making the ducks. And so I started making a white Mabel chicken, which I might make 2 or 3 of them. And in the white, and then I'll probably do a couple more colors because I think those will sell really well at the farmer's market. I went ahead and put the caramel on the shelf because I didn't want it to sit around in the box. So here is the shelf with the caramel on it. And then I put the winter white down here with the grays and then some of the colored yarn that I have. It's a little after 9:30 on Thursday night, and this is all that I was able to get done today. So all of this stuff was already crocheted. It just needed eyes. So a few of the things have sleepy eyes, like the little rattles, I put the sleepy eyes on those. And then everything else has the embroidered eyes on all the loveys. And then there's the little ducks. And I have a few more things that I need to finish, and then all of my inventory will be done. Today is Friday, and it is the day before the market, so I've got a lot of things that I still need to do. I need to go to Walmart, Michael's, and Hobby Lobby, and I need to get some price tags and a few things for my display. So I'm going to take y'all along with me as I do that, and then we'll come back to the house and work on the mock setup just to see how everything is going to be tomorrow. These are some good little baskets to use for some small items. I don't really know exactly what items, but I think I might get 1 or 2 of these and see what I can come up with at the house. This would be a good basket too. I just don't know what to put in it, but the pink matches my pink on the banner, so maybe I'll get it and figure out something. There's also these that are like reversed, so the color is on the bottom and the wicker or whatever this material is like on the top. So maybe I'll get a small one as well. I found these tags in the like stationery section, so I think I'm gonna go with these. I found this that I'm going to write my business name on it and then set it at the edge of my booth so people can see. I just got done at Hobby Lobby, and I actually ended up getting everything I needed there. So me and my mom are gonna go eat some lunch and then head to the house and work on everything for the market. I'm in my garage and I've got my table set up for the mock setup. And so the way that my booth is at the market, there is like a walkway that comes to my booth this way. So I'm going to have the tables this way so that people can see the product as they walk by. Normally I'll put it on this side, like if someone was walking this way, but since they are walking this way, I'm going to flip it and put the tables like on the right side of the booth instead of the left side. Here are the tables. So my booth is 10 by 10 and these tables are 8 foot, I believe. But when I did this market before, I had them set up like this. So it should be enough length this way. I know it will be this way. That's not a problem. But I am kind of worried, like that looks like it's very long. I don't remember how that fit in my booth last time. But I'll have to see, look at some pictures and see how I had it set up. But here is what I've got so far. And I'm not gonna put tablecloths because I don't feel like dealing with it because they go over the legs of the tables. So I'm just ignore the paint and stuff. I used to do crafts on these tables, so that's why they're dirty. But for now, I'm just gonna focus on setup instead of the tablecloths. I ended up moving this table right here closer to this table because this one was like back and against this one. So now this is what my tables are gonna look like. And I've got my crates out. And then this is what I got from Hobby Lobby today. So I'm hoping to use this for some things. I did get some other things from Dollar Tree that I need to bring out as well. But now I'm going to set up my crates and see how I like that. I feel like I have such a hard time trying to set up these crates because I never know how to set them up. But I am thinking I want them like in the corner kind of, and I'm gonna play around and see how I like the setup. I forgot that I had this basket already at the house, so I'm going to use this as part of my display somewhere. I'm just gonna set it there, but I did get this little basket from Dollar Tree that actually matches this basket I got at Hobby Lobby. So I'll figure out somewhere to put this. I'm not sure what I'm gonna put in them yet. And then I got these little chalkboard clips that I'm gonna see if I can clip onto the baskets, possibly, or maybe even to some of the loveys. And then I got some of these chalkboard signs to write some prices on. And I also have this crate, which this crate is different than the other ones. It kind of has like the little lip right here. So I might use this. I usually use it for chickens, but I'm not sure how many chickens I will have. I'm going to try and make some later today, but we'll see. I might have to use this for something else. I've got some little green plants, and then I also have a standing plant that I'm going to bring. And then I got this sign from Hobby Lobby that I'm going to put probably on this side so that people can see it as they walk in. I don't know where the placement will be yet, but that's what I've got right now. Here is my booth all set up. I ended up getting a clothing rack for my loveys to hang on, and I think it worked out really well. And I've got my crates and then my little baskets. So we're ready for the market. It's a little after 7:30 and I already made a sale. So I sold 2 possums to another vendor. So we're just waiting for the rest of the market to come and I'll update you. Look at all the bubbles! It's a little bit after 10 and there's 2 more hours to go, but here's what my booth is looking like right now. I did have to move around some things and I took out the crate that was right here and made room for some other items. I sold one of the ducks, sold a couple of my rattles, and then all I have left in my $5 bin is this little sushi. So yeah, we're doing good. There's a little less than an hour left and I've sold 24 items so far, so we're doing pretty good and it's still very busy, so we'll see what happens. after. I didn't sell any of these in the baskets, but I did sell some things over here. Sold a lot of my rattles and like everything in this bin. And then I sold some lilies. I'm back home after the market, and now I'm going to share everything that sold. So during the market, I will write the name of the item, how many the person bought, the price, and then I also like to write the time because I like to see when my busiest hours are during any market. And so at this market, I sold something every single hour, which is very good. So the market is from 7 a.m. to 12 p.m. and my first sale was at 7:24, and then my last sale was at 11:48. So pretty good day. Like I said, I sold something every hour. So I'm just gonna go down the list here. The first thing that sold was 2 mini possums from Crochet by Jenna, and it actually was from another vendor. So there are some youth vendors, and it was 2 little girls that came, and they actually remembered me from my past market, and they were coming to get an axolotl, but I didn't have any. So they ended up getting the possums. So now I definitely need to make some more axolotls. Since they're vendors as well, I know they'll be back to buy more. And then they also came back. Well, I did have 1 axolotl, and they did end up buying that one. So they bought the 2 possums, a ladybug, an axolotl, and then a mini bee. Then at 8:20, I sold a bee rattle, Winnie the Pooh rattle, and then the heart Jellycat. And that was all to the same person. And then a couple minutes later, I sold the big Mama Mabel chicken. And then I sold a Triceratops, a platypus, both from Crochet by Jenna, and then a baby Della duck and a regular sized Della duck around 9:18, and that was to a mom and her son. They both bought the Dellas. And then I sold my pink scalloped speckled turtle, and then I sold an elephant rattle, one of my rubber ducks. I sold a love bug, the Mabel chicken, and then an octopus from the Crochet Carpenter. And that was about 10 a.m. It looks like it was about 9:53. And then at 9:56, I sold my toad pattern, which that was one of my favorite lovies that I had, and I am so glad that it found a home. And then shortly after that, I sold the cow with overalls, which is Mama Made Minis. And then I sold the horse at 10:23, the lamb also at 10:23. I think that was the same person as well. I sold a flower rattle, my Highland cow, and then another flower rattle. Altogether, I sold 26 items, which is a total of $382, which was pretty good. So the last time that I did this market was the 4th of July weekend, and I sold $550. So I know that it was Mother's Day weekend, and that did have an effect on the sales because people were buying more for their mothers rather than buying maybe for like their grandkid or something. So all in all, it was $382, and the booth fee was only $15. So that was pretty good. The last market that I did was back in December, and it was at a school, and I did okay. I did about the same amount for this market that I did at that market. And so it's been a couple of months since I've done one. So I did have a lot more inventory, and I had some new inventory that I have never crocheted before or sold. And I have to say, the stuff that is like made with the Sweet Snuggles Light or Parfait Plush does sell a lot more. And I think it's because a lot of kids come into my booth and they like the way that yarn feels with the plushies. So I definitely need to make more amigurumi style, like some axolotls, possums, the mini bees. I did have some turtles, and usually my turtles sell out, but I only sold 1 turtle this time. But I also, like I said, it was Mother's Day weekend, so that did have a factor in my sales, since a lot of my stuff is for babies or kids. But kids definitely really like amigurumi style, and they like the smaller items about like this big. So I did have a $5 bin up at my checkout area, and I sold everything in there except for that little sushi. So my plan for my next market is to completely fill that thing up and have it like overflowing with little items, all for $5. Because even though it's only $5 do add up. I do still need to work on my display. So I only had like some crates really, and I don't know how I did it at my last market or even the one that I did at the craft fair. That was a 3-day event. I really don't know how my market did with all those little bitty crates. But now I'm going to focus also on getting some more display items. So I do want to buy maybe a couple more crates and then like some more baskets and things. But the items that I had in those big baskets from Hobby Lobby, I didn't sell any of those, so I need to figure out a way to display those better. I don't think it was the product. I think it was just, it wasn't displayed very well, so I need to work on that. I did get a clothing rack. It was like a 2-tier rack for my lovies, which I really liked that. And a lot of people saw it and they like, you know, touched the items or picked them up. So I'm going to use that for now until I am able to find something that is easier to transport, because we do have to take the clothing rack apart every time we put it in the car or take it out and things like that. But for now, it is going to work just fine. And then a lot of my lovies didn't sell, so I'm wondering if maybe I should start making plushie bodies instead of lovey bodies. So actually, when I got back from my market, I started working on a new pattern, which I will show y'all in next week's video. And actually, the color of what I'm wearing might be a little hint to what next week's video is going to be about. But I did start working on a new project, and I'm going to start making some more plushie bodies and see if that sells, because a lot of the kids like to hold stuff and like to hug the stuff. So maybe I'll make some more like that. The actual venue of the market was beautiful. So it's at a historical downtown farmers market in my town, and it has grown so much over the years. I think there's over 100 vendors every Saturday. So I am very blessed that I am able to be a vendor there all year. And my booth mates were so nice. It was actually a little kid who wrote and printed his own comic books, and he sold out. So I was very happy for him as well. There was nobody on the left side of me, which was great. So I really liked that. And then it's just, if you can see in the video, it's just like the green grass and the trees, and there's like some walking trails. And then they had the music behind us, which at first I kind of was iffy about it because I didn't want it to be too loud that I couldn't talk to customers. But in the end, it ended up being a very nice ambiance to the booth, and it was really fun to enjoy and listen to music while we sold. I do live in a tourist town, so there's always going to be new people coming to the market, so I don't have to worry about it being the same crowd every time. So I know there's going to be some locals that come, obviously, because they're going to come and get some vegetables and things from the farmers, but also tourists will come in and see all of the handmade gifts and maybe get a souvenir or something before they leave. So I'm very excited, and I definitely plan to film a lot more of my markets in the future. I'm not going to be doing it this Saturday. I'm going to do it the next Saturday. So probably in about 2 videos will be another market vlog. And I hope that you enjoyed this video. If you did, leave a like, comment, and subscribe. Also, I don't talk about it much, but I do have an Etsy, Handmade by Hannah AR. So I would love it if you would go check that out and support me on there, and follow me on Instagram, Handmade by Hannah as well, and I'll put it on the screen. And I'll see you in my next video. Bye.